there's a confidence in where he's going, but it's definitely hard in the moment.
The patriarch of Duck Dynasty, Phil Robertson, died on May 25th at the age of 79. He starred Duck Commander, and fans fell in love with him during his time on Duck Dynasty from 2012 to 2017. Phil had been battling Alzheimer's and some other diseases over the past several months, something that both of his sons, Willie and Jace, have been pretty open and honest about, both in the press and on their Unashamed podcast. The family shared that he had fractured his back and was also dealing with a blood disorder. This was the official statement that went out confirming Phil's death, along with many tributes from the family. Now, a little over a week since his passing, son Willie has expressed deeper adoration for his dad, and we've learned how Phil's wife, Miss Kay, is doing. Quote, looking back at pics, I noticed he was always looking at me funny, probably trying to figure out how did this boy turn out like this. I remember in 8th grade bringing my boombox in the living room and doing a breakdance routine for him as he sat on his recliner. He just looked strangely at me and said, well, I've never seen anything quite like that. I took it as a compliment. Willie's touching tribute to his father came with a compilation of old photos, many that haven't been seen before. Photos from growing up, photos from their time on Duck Dynasty together, photos of Willie with Phil and Willie's son John Luke. As the post continued, Willie gave fans deeply personal insight into how his last moments with his dad were spent. Quote, right at the very end of his life, I came into his room and the floor was freshly mopped. I did another dance in such a weaker voice, he simply said, well, you got moves I didn't know you had. Not sure why I was always dancing in front of Phil. Maybe I figured it was the last thing I think he would do, so I just did it. He taught me many things in life, and most without ever saying a word. I watched him, and I knew he had figured out so many things. Most importantly, he taught me the value of sharing my faith with others. He was the real deal, the same on Sundays as Fridays. Most of our conversations were not about hunting or business, but about sharing the gospel. Throughout all the family's posts, that was consistent, that he was a man strongly convicted to share the news of Jesus to everyone he came in contact with. Quote, the last words he said to me as I leaned down over his weakened body was, you're my brother. It made total sense to me. He always told me we were co-workers in the kingdom of God. Maybe that's why I always just called him Phil. Not sure if he's up in heaven now doing his own dance moves for our Father. He was living for heaven, not earth. That's something that Sadie touched on during her interview with us. Here's one of her last conversations with Phil, her grandfather.
Not gonna lie, and we're still at a really hard place. It's one of those things that he has that it doesn't get better, But I saw him today, but I saw him last week. And last week, as soon as I saw him, he doesn't really talk very well now. But as soon as he saw me, he looked at me and he said, full strength ahead. And it was just very sweet because, he wasn't talking about strength coming here. It's full strength ahead, knowing where he's going. And so there's a confidence in where he's going, but it's definitely hard in the moment.
The family is close, so thankfully Miss Kay is already being thoughtfully watched over. Just days after Phil's death, his kids and grandkids returned to work, sort of. They returned to their respective podcasts, the Unashamed podcast and the Duck Call Room. It wasn't a normal recording, but rather a 90-minute episode with a bunch of stories about Phil. Y'all, it was heavy, but at the same time celebratory. About 40 minutes in, fans get a Miss Kay update. Jace Stone is married to Phil's son, Alan Robertson's daughter, Anna. He joined the group for this episode and shared that Miss Kay is staying with him and his wife. It sounds like a pretty permanent situation. Quote, she's doing good, Stone shares. She's surrounded by her family. There's people in and out constantly, so she's doing well and she's eating well. Miss Kay has her own Instagram page, but hasn't posted on it in a while. She's been a collaborator on a few things, but the last original post seems to have been in March of 2024, where she shared this suddenly poignant memory. Quote, Phil takes care of me and I take care of him. Sometimes he fixes the little makeup smudge for me, and I comb the chicken biscuit crumbs out of his beard. I'm getting over being sick, and I can't wait to get back taking care of my pioneer man. I love Phil, and I really want y'all to know that the hard years were worth it to get where we are today.
Yeah, you wanted more than 4, but that's all I could take. 4 boys. Mm-hmm. That's when the Lord I knew had a sense of humor, when he gave me 4 boys. that were just like you.
Either that or lots of testosterone, one or the other.
Go on and comment below your thoughts and prayers for the Robertson family. Phil Robertson will be greatly missed. I'm Adison Haager for Taste of Country. Thanks for watching and thanks for subscribing.